Welcome to KoozaCast, where we interview some of the most influential people in tourism from around the world. My name is Graham Watson, and I'm the founder of Kooza Global. The word Kooza means a new dawn, and in 2023, we want to find out just how our guests are working towards that new dawn. Join us and subscribe to future episodes as we hope to inspire you with stories of strength and resilience in the tourism industry. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of KoozaCast. Today, my guest is Katy Lee, who is the Senior Business Development at Feefo. Hello, Katy.
Hey, Graham. How are you?
Not too bad, thanks. We kind of ran into each other at the Institute of Travel and Tourism's room last year at World Travel Market and have been working a bit since to try and highlight the benefits of Feefo to the tourism industry. So thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's
No
great
problem.
to be here.
So, Katy, the way we generally start the podcast is that you just tell us a bit about yourself, Feefo, where you currently work, and a bit about your history in the industry.
Yeah, sure. So my travel background started over 30 years ago with an absolute love of travel. Dad used to take us to Heathrow Airport to watch all the planes taking off, and my passion from there, from a really young age, I knew that I was going to work in travel. So I started off at Virgin Holidays and then went on to British Airways Holidays, selling the virtues to travel agents and tour operators and all the benefits of it. I've been on every continent bar Antarctica. Wow. I completed my bucket list of travel things way back in 2008. I had a big list of things I wanted to do before I die, or have children was more the thing. And before I spent my daughter's inheritance, should I say, which I did back in 2008, and just been very fortunate with a good background in the travel industry to have done so much, including some of your beautiful country, Graham, in South Africa.
Lovely. Yeah. Well, great. I know somebody, Duncan, who was a guest on my podcast a few weeks ago. He's just been to Antarctica and he can help you plan your trip. So tick off that. Is it 8th or 7th continent? I think can't even remember now.
I'll have to Google that. But I've been very fortunate to, I've been to the Galapagos Islands and Easter Island and done some really crazy far-flung things, even as far as going to the DMZ at North Korea.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. So that's really, really cool. Yeah, I mean, I think once a travel bug hits you, I think we all know, most of us listening to the podcast are in the industry or avid travelers. So we know exactly what that feels like. And then just a bit about Feefo. Just let us know. It seems like a great product and alternate to some other review sites out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So for anyone that doesn't know Feefo, we are a verified ratings and reviews company, and the difference between us is that we collect your verified reviews. So it's by invitation only. So what that does is not only protect your customers from reading fake reviews, but it also protects your business. We've got some brilliant data and insights, and really Feefo allows customers to make confident decisions in their purchasing choices when they know that they're working with us. There's lots of ways to review products and services within the travel industry, but as a business is ensuring that you are actually delivering verified customer insights and data to your customers. And the differences with Feefo is that your customers can only write about you, whereas there's a lot of open platforms out there where they can literally write anything, but Feefo will protect your brand in doing that, and in doing so allows you to really market your products using customer sentiment. So it's very clever technology, and it protects brands from fake reviews, and that's why we work with some of the world's largest brands in doing so.
Yeah, I think the invite link definitely makes sense, as you say, to protect businesses against fake reviews and competitors writing nasty things when they've never been to the property and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. And one of the things that, I often say to people is, it's great collecting reviews but it's what is that review going to do for your business? And one of the things that we do at Feefo is that we feed all that beautiful, rich content back out into the world of Google. So we really help with our Google partnership actually boost all your SEO and display your Feefo stars in your search results. So lots of people will know some really well-known review brands out there, but they're collecting their star ratings for them. Feefo collects your star ratings for you and your brand, and the time and money in doing that yourself is, people use Feefo because they want all of that as from a reviews partner, just not part of it.
yeah, yeah. And is your head office is in the UK?
Yeah, so we've got a office in London Bridge, very close to the bridge, which is a really beautiful part of London. As a
Mm,
Londoner myself, I feel like I come, even though I live down in Sussex now, I feel like I come home to London when I
yeah.
go to the office. And we've also got a office on a farm in Petersfield. So if anyone's been to Hampshire, it's you must come and see us at the farm because it's a beautiful converted barn that is really our sort of tech hub, and where all our customer support is as well, which is really important because you speak to humans and build great relationships with our team down at Petersfield. Yeah, really good. It's one thing we're renowned for is our very hands-on, great customer service.
Yeah. No, no. I mean, it definitely looks like a great platform, and as we've spoken over the past few months, definitely something that I can try and promote. For you and just anybody that is interested, we'll give all the details at the end, and I can put you in touch with Katie at Feefo for a bit more information if you are a property owner or a business owner. I take it, Katie, that it's also experiences. We had Quinton from Bikes and Wines and a few other, experiences as well. I take it it's for that, not just properties.
Absolutely. So it's really anything that you're selling that from being not just travel but any industry where you have a product that you are selling to either a consumer, so business to consumer, and even in a business to business environment. So
Mm.
if you've got suppliers that you're supplying product to, you really want to get their thoughts and insights, and then use that feedback as a marketing tool. Get your either your B2C or B2B customers really selling your stories for you. And that's what reviews do. And, if anyone wants some live examples of how our customers use their customer insight to as a marketing tool, because there's no louder voice than a business that is brave enough to offer great products and services and actually allow their customers to tell their marketing stories.
Absolutely, and of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch anymore. So there is a subscription model, and that's based on kind of the amount of people in your database. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So it basically goes on transactions that you are selling a month. So our basic product, is 200 customer invites a month, and it starts from as little as £99 a month. So it just shows you how affordable it is to use that customer
Mm,
insight and get out to your customers. So and it really varies on the size of the business and how many customers you transact with on a month. But our base product, one of the great things about Feefo is where you are a small niche brand and you don't have the people or the financial resource to collect data and insights and actually review it, we can give you those tools in a really cost effective time easy way, than having to employ lots and lots of people to do it for you.
mm,
Having worked for Tesco Club Card, I know I worked alongside 200 data scientists, and really what Feefo does is that data scientist. Is it not only collects that great customer sentiment, but when things aren't going right, it allows you, at the touch of the button to look at those reports and go, what's going wrong? How do I fix things in my business? So very
mm.
clever and very cost effective, as opposed to being a big brand like Tesco's or British
Mm.
Airways, where they are employing hundreds of people to do it. Our
Mm.
product really helps those businesses that are starting out and they're trying to grow, and also existing businesses where, they really do want to own their data. They want to own their reviews, whereas a lot of providers out there, you don't actually own the customer review. At Feefo, you own your data and your customers because you're supplying it to us. That's a really big thing for a lot of our partners, is they want to know that they own their reviews, and you do with Feefo, as opposed to
Yeah.
other suppliers where you don't.
Yeah, yeah. No, that sounds great. So you obviously work with a lot of tech guys out there on the farm that you sounds lovely. I must try and visit one day.
Yeah.
I mean, working for a technology company, what ways do you use technology for productivity tools just in getting through your average sort of day to day? That's it's we have varying different guests on the podcast. Some say they write everything down on a piece of paper. Some say they plug everything into an app. How do you kind of get through and stay on top of the many tasks that we all have nowadays?
Yeah, well, my 13-year-old daughter would say that she's the smartest
Yeah,
cookie in our house, and
yeah, that's always true. Yep.
yeah, but mummy isn't up to date with the latest technology. But little does she know that I am very much, for me, using technology and the being in new business sales is, we very much use a number of tools here at Feefo to make sure that not only are we targeting the right customers, but we're also targeting them with the right product as to what their needs are. So
Mm,
we use a number of outsourced products to really ensure that, we're not just taking a blanket approach to getting new businesses, that we're fully understanding what each sector needs, what each business needs, so that we can provide a solution for them. So, we use a number of different platforms, external platforms, to actually, source, to
yeah.
ensure that we're targeting. LinkedIn's a big one for us as
Mm,
well. The LinkedIn tools to make sure that we get to decision makers quickly, because
mm,
ultimately for me personally, my sales approach has always been to is really look at who's at the dinner table. You need the financial director, you need the sales and marketing person. You're going to make their life easier. Getting the operations people. Is there problems in people's supply chain, or are there issues within, say, if it's a hotel, they've got staffing issues where customers are complaining about them.
mm,
And they need to pull that sentiment and analysis. And because FIFO does that using the customer sentiment, is making sure that you target the relevant people within the organizations to make decisions, you know, on purchasing a product like FIFO. Because really, if you're a good sales consultant, you're taking a consultative approach, you want to go in and try and find out what their problems are, and really how you can solve them. And if you can't solve them, is being honest and saying, well, actually, we can't fix that, but we can fix that. And in doing so, for me, it's not just a single person that whenever I do a demo, is I will try and get on, and depending on the product, I will ensure that I have the right people there to make sure that this is how I can fix your problem. This is how I can fix your problem, especially with finance. This is how I can save you time and money.
yeah.
Because, it's making sure that you have the right people to make that dinner party effectively.
Sure, sure.
It's really, really important that that you have those people present to make the right commercial decisions. And in some instances, depending on who you're targeting, it is simply just one decision maker. But quite
Mm,
often in the businesses that I target, it can be a complex sell, and you have to make sure that you tick all those boxes
mm.
accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that analogy of the dinner party. It makes a lot of sense.
Nobody likes a meal for one, Graham.
No, 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 exactly. It's very, very true. Having spent around 30 years in the tourism industry, was the COVID pandemic the kind of worst thing that you've ever experienced? I know that may sound like a silly question, but who knows what people have been through, and what did it teach you about the industry as a whole?
Well, For me personally, I think it was I don't well for me personally, I think it was unprecedented. I've got a school age daughter, so
Mm,
as a parent, it was particularly challenging,
mm,
and even post pandemic, we're still seeing the repercussions of that lockdown on our children. I think
mm,
that's been very hard, and also in families in general. I think it's changed the landscape of how people feel about their families and their family time. But from a professional perspective, I think what's really interesting and what a lot of businesses are is how they reacted, because being a reviews company, the first thing when you're in that situation, and you've got to remember a lot of, say, for the airlines, issuing refunds and trying to progress in a structured way, you know if they can't get their money back off their suppliers, they couldn't give it back to their clients,
mm,
and that resulted in a lot of horrifically bad reviews. And the
mm,
FIFO have done incredibly well post pandemic, because all those providers that were getting horrifically negative reviews were in some instances where customers hadn't even made a purchase of them. So they were going on to other forums and writing negative reviews. But the ones that were using FIFO were actually able to really reach out to say, look, we're really sorry this has gone wrong. Let us put it right. And one of the great things about our technology is when service, in the instance of getting the delayed refunds, they were able to resolve it. It was a really challenging time for many of our customers, but in doing so and then providing really great service, FIFO gives them the option to then resend that invite out to the client and go, look, I understand you've had a bad experience. We've now put it right.
mm,
Would you re-review us? So the great thing is they were able to go from having a 1-star review to then changing the landscape by using FIFO and making sure that they get a good review again. Now, as I say to all my customers, we can't ever guarantee that that customer will give you another review or be a good review, but the evidence that we've shown is that when things go wrong, FIFO gives them the voice to put it right. In the
mm,
pandemic, that was one of our strengths, is that businesses were able to identify what the sentiment was, and actually then when they eventually got their holidays, to then send them out a fresh invite to go, actually, how was your holiday,
mm,
and get those great reviews back in. I think for the travel industry specifically, I think it was hard to see that they didn't have the support from the governments and stuff like that. And I think it's been particularly challenging, post COVID, to get staff and employees, and because I think a lot of businesses have or employees have kind of said, well, what's a COVID for safe job now?
yeah,
But I think that's coming back, and the data and insights that we sort of see from our customers is that that trust is coming back. And from a reviews perspective, people are so delighted to be traveling again. And
mm,
we have our trusted services awards that we present to our customers every year, who have continuously shown good service for good products and service, and we award those every year. And this year it's been absolutely phenomenal. So it just shows there's some brilliant businesses out there using FIFO, and their customers are reflecting that in their star ratings.
that's great. I mean, and obviously there's a lot of entrepreneurs coming up, particularly in the tourism industry, and a lot of focus is on helping those young startups get off the ground, because we need that fresh energy in the industry when it comes to bad reviews, for example. Does your team work with the business owner then to advise them on how they can perhaps relook at their business model to get those reviews, um, to a excellent standard? Or, I mean, do you just,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So we when we we first obviously interact with customers, and one of the biggest things is that we have these AI tools that, depending on the size of the business, will allow automation to take over where things are going wrong in their supply chain. I use the word supply chain as a term to, if you're a hotelier and you've got a problem with rooms, or swimming pool, anything that a customer is saying will come out in a review, because if they're going to complain, it's going to come out. The great thing is with Feefo is, depending on the size of your business, we have the ability to, download the report. So if somebody leaves like a 1, 2, 3-star review, we can set alerts on your system to say, right, this you've just had a poor review, and you've triggered these keywords, and it will alert some with it in their business. Now, we don't tell customers how to respond to their reviews, but one thing I know at Feefo is, if you are seeking advice on how to perform better, all of our staff, and we have a brilliant team of account directors and customer service managers, big support team who can help you and give their guidance and knowledge and experience in industry led as well, to say, this is what another partner is doing, and they won't tell you who the partner is, but they'll use their experience across multitudes of businesses to go, actually, this is best practice. And we do on our website, if you are interested, we've got some really great customer stories on there, and actually there's some great stuff on there that shows you how customers have used Feefo's tools to actually improve their business, rather than lose that business when things go wrong. By having Feefo and actually owning that data insight, you have access to review it and look at it and manipulate it to ensure that you can then go, right, we need to take this business action against this. It's really smart, affordable technology where, like I said earlier, is you don't need 100 people to do it. Feefo will do it for you, really cost effectively and securely. And our team, that's the great thing, is we're not robotic, is we have got a very hands-on team. That's one of our key strengths, is the people that work here.
So what do you think I mean, we've had a lot of African-based businesses on the podcast, and the pandemic did change a lot in the industry. What do you think, from a United Kingdom point of view, changed in the industry that is going to carry on going forward? And it can be things as simple as, the working from home, or the collaboration, the news. I don't know. There seems to be a new spirit of collaboration even amongst competitors. Have you noticed anything that changed during the pandemic, and that you think will just continue being business as usual from now on?
I think the hybrid working, I think that's probably been not so much in my industry, because we are advanced very much in that technology space, but I think within the travel industry in general is that has the face of it has changed, in terms of I know a lot of businesses now that actually don't have their offices anymore, and they hire hot space once a month to bring their teams together to collaborate and actually have really, really concentrated time together. I think that's one of the biggest breakthroughs. I think it's equally can be a challenge is people that aren't used to working from home. Like, I've been working from home for 20 odd years, and actually I think I'm way more productive at home than I am in the office. As you can tell, I love a chat.
Yeah.
So I think that's, and also I do think we have to be really mindful of the young people becoming isolated and actually not learning off their peers, with that knowledge and experience. Because as great as the technology is, if we want the young progressive people coming through the ranks of business, they need to learn off people, and they need to learn from that experience, and it's our responsibility as slightly older people to pass that on, because otherwise it just becomes a chatbot, and eventually we'll just be overtaken by AI. So I do think I hope that although I think there's been some phenomenally good changes and some very good disciplines that people have instilled in themselves, is getting the balance of their life, their work-life balance, and actually realizing that we don't need as much stuff as we probably did pre-pandemic, much to my husband's joy. Amazon doesn't seem to deliver as quite as frequently as before, but no, I think within it would be good to ultimately see those businesses thriving. And I go into London a couple of times a week, and it's great to see the city alive. It's great to dare I say it, be on a packed train again. It's really slowly coming back, but I do also equally respect that mental health side of it, Graham. There's been some really, you see people on trains, they've got rubber gloves on, they've got masks on, and I think we shouldn't forget that some people have really been through the mill with this and are still very scared. And I think we have to just take it on a case by case basis, just to take people on that journey back to normality. Will we ever get there? I genuinely hope so. From business travel, I haven't got a single friend that they're desperate to literally constantly go away. They're like, people are booking short weekends, they're booking bed and breakfasts, they're going overseas, they're doing the trips that they never had the chance to do pre-lockdown. And I think people are valuing their family time together, so it's hopefully we'll get there, but I think we just have to take it on a individual and be respectful of people's journey back to what is normality, the new normal, as we say.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, I think a lot of people have realized, what's the point of putting something off until tomorrow, because who knows what there may not be tomorrow. So I think a lot of people did see that. And I mean, I think the fallout, as you say, mental health is there's a lot of people who are just like the hamster on the wheel now, just trying to get back, pick up their lives again. And so and it definitely needs to be realized in the tourism industry in particular, is that we are all here for each other. It's a great bunch of people, and I've spoken about this on other podcasts, that particularly for the entrepreneurs and for the guides, and a lot of people that really hit were struck hard with sort of zero work for 2 years. It's and then it may not be, I think the danger is to look at platforms like LinkedIn and think that everybody's picked up the pieces and are getting on with their lives and are doing even better than they were before, and all that kind of stuff. But I think the reality is that there's a lot of people still picking up the pieces. And for those who do feel that they that there's something wrong or something like that, then just reach out, because I think they may find that there's a lot more people in the boat with them than on the mega yacht.
And that's, do you know what, it's a perfect analogy, and I think that's exactly it. We absolutely have to support and respect each other. And I think, like you say, with things like the tour guides and stuff, having traveled so extensively, and I'm not saying, like, I was backpacking, I backpacked all over the world when I was younger and stuff, and I don't forget what those people, when I was in lockdown in my house in Sussex, I had my family, I'd stockpiled 1 million toilet rolls. I hold my hands up to that.
Were you one of those people who were getting into fisticuffs in the aisle about toilet paper?
You have to remember as well, Graham, that I was born, so I'm 48, but I was born to quite old parents, and you know, having been born in London, my father, you know, was a war child, and
Oh, okay.
he was. So I've always held a great, as we call it in London, a war cupboard.
Yeah.
And in
Oh,
fact,
okay.
my sisters do, and you know, I didn't really feel, you know, fearful, but ironically, actually, my daughter, who's 13, you know, she still is in a state post pandemic of thinking that her life is over because she lost 2 years of her education. Like, she's very
Mm.
academic, she's very studious, but you think of those families within our industry, and especially those that weren't working in pandemic, and you think of those ramification of that is, you know, is you know, be kind and bring people on that journey with you, you know,
Yeah.
stop and do those things. And also, you know, one thing I think it's also taught us is buy local, you know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
buy off your, you know, stay in the local bed and breakfasts, and you know, do the things in your, do visit the tourist attractions in your area. You know, one thing, my husband's from Horsham, born and bred, and we realized there's like a 13-mile riverside walk that
Wow.
he never knew existed. So, you know, travel far and wide, but equally, you know, spend your bucks locally. You know,
Yeah.
it's really taught us to shop locally, you know, source locally, as well as all that wonderful international travel. And you know, Graham, I've traveled quite a lot of South Africa, and you know, it did, being from Irish descent, the family feeling that you get when you are with South Africans is very similar to, you know, my own family kind of, which is why
Mm.
I adore South Africa, and the people, you know, is that culture of welcoming and wanting to be, you know, to be kind and helpful, and
Yeah.
feed, you know.
Yeah.
A natural born feeder. I have to say,
Yeah.
you only have to pull up on the drive and I've made you a cup of tea and a sandwich. So
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I mean South Africa, it's as we know, and you know Southern Africa, East Africa, it's
yeah,
all very and then you know the wide open spaces. You know, for people that are still a bit on edge
yeah,
about COVID and everything, you know, you can go places and don't come in contact at all with anybody if
yeah,
you want to and see the animals. But yeah, I mean it is great to see everybody, you know, taking the bookings again. And I do keep reminding people that, you know, the PCR tests and all that, it's only really been a few months or maybe up to a year or so. I mean, those PCR tests were definitely restricting a lot of people from traveling, and the hassle and the passenger locator forms and all that stuff we had to fill in. And
gosh, yeah.
I mean, it seems like a lifetime ago, but if you put it into
Mm.
perspective, it was only really a few months ago that I think it was July even that those things kind of stopped last year. So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, absolutely. And you know, as sad as it may seem, I actually boxed up one of the PCR tests along with Boris Johnson's letter to say, you know, when that he sent out to all UK households. I actually have boxed it up with the PCRs and a little
oh,
note to my daughter. I keep a memory box of
oh,
certain
cool.
events and things like that. You know, I did the same with
Yeah,
Brexit, and
yeah.
I you know, sealed the Brexit letter that again that they sent us to vote, to really, you know, show to her that we can get over this, that this,
Mm.
it's a, you know, I write like a dying mother, but ultimately I am a dying mother, and I do these little, I seal them up because I want her to know that it doesn't matter what happens in life, you will recover, but you have to
Mm.
go through it, and you have to then look back and not stare, you know, is
Mm.
look back on that history, acknowledge what happens, but really say to yourself what is, you know, I can see. And it's really with Feefo, going back to our business, is you, what went wrong, you know,
Mm.
I've acknowledged it, how do I make it better, and that's what, you know, I think COVID and you know, seeing that, it just it divided families, it divided,
Mm.
you know, people had so many different views over it, but for us, you know, I want my daughter to know that, you know, we did go through this, but we survived it, you know, and
Mm.
we've come out of it alive, you know. She's ironically at her school, you know, she's in secondary school, like high school now, and you know, two children committed suicide, you know,
Mm.
two 14-year-old girls, because one girl thought that she wasn't going to she was going to lose her whole education, and
Yeah.
then because she did it, her best friend did it.
Oh my
It's
word. Oh my word.
yeah, so we, like we said earlier, is you have to move forward. And for us is I can't believe that even now people are still doing COVID tests. They're getting colds and things
Mm.
like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard going for some people, but resilience is everything. And
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
I think it's the unspoken illness now, because
mm,
I know of events that have happened where many people have got COVID afterwards, that were at events, and there are still events happening right now. Even in
mm,
South Africa right now, there's World Travel Market Africa,
brilliant.
in Cape Town, and yeah, I mean the likelihood of nobody at these massive events, it's
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
always, you are going to get the few cases, and I think what people have just realized is that we can't, we have to live with it. And I read somewhere the other
yeah.
day that I think in the UK there's still 8,000 people in hospital with COVID even now today,
Gosh,
and
really?
I just wonder what the stats were when all the lockdowns came in. They probably were less than 8,000. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah, yeah,
but
it's right. Yeah,
but
absolutely. Yeah. No, for
yeah,
sure. In fact, it's gone through, I think with some of our team have actually been taken down with it in the last few weeks. And, like even myself flippantly said, well, why are you still testing? But actually, people are, because some people are still genuinely worried about the impact, and they have,
mm,
vulnerable family and friends at home. Even my own family. My daughter and husband have both got asthma, and we have to be mindful for
mm,
them, sort of thing. But it is a challenge
mm,
out there. But it's just great to see the industry coming back alive. I think that's even at World Travel Market last year, I think they had the biggest attendees. I don't know what the actual fact was, but I just remember going, gosh, I cannot believe it's this busy. And
yeah,
I think we have to lead from the front,
mm,
in you know the reason we came into this industry, because we have a wanderlust. And as the North Face brand says, never stop exploring. And I think
mm,
when you work in this industry, you want to lead and inspire to people, because I often say to my daughter, we come into this life with nothing, and we leave with nothing, but all we can do is make memories and fill
mm,
hearts and minds, because that's what you literally take with you. And
yeah.
I think I said to you, I broke my back back
Yes,
in
yes, yes. I
2015.
remember.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it gives you a different perspective. And I've always loved traveling and making bucket lists and things like that, but I will never take my freedom and my health for granted again. I'm going to
Mm.
do absolutely everything with complete gusto at 9,000 miles an hour. And hopefully be remembered for that sort of stuff, rather than the other stuff.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's that's the important
Yeah.
bit.
No, I mean it's yeah, look, I mean I love the way if if you listen to some other of the podcasts when you've got some time, it's the way people share, and like you've been sharing today, it's great to hear people. It's not just really talking about your job, and like,
Mm,
it's so much more about how the individual has looked at what happened. We can't underestimate what happened. A lot of people,
yeah,
including myself, lost jobs and had to pick up the pieces and ended up moving countries and lost houses and
gosh,
cars.
yeah.
And I mean it's yeah, I mean it was an absolute nightmare for a lot of people. And I think, yeah, that's the whole reason for doing the series of podcasts, is just to let
Mm,
people listen to other people's stories and hopefully find something that they can relate to and that makes them feel a bit better. So
yeah.
no, thanks so much for
I
sharing.
I must say, the one sentence that has always stood me, when I was 20 something and working for British Airways Holidays, was, I remember my boss at the time just saying to me, if the foundations of your life are right, it doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. If your foundations are strong, you can always rebuild. And it was such a powerful thing because I never realized how many times I would get knocked down,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, having that there, knowing that, you know, doesn't matter, you know, if a tree gets blown down, you replant, and you know, that ground is full of nourishment, and you keep watering it, you keep nurturing it with the love of your family and your job, and you know, the world. You'll just keep growing. You just doesn't matter. You'll keep growing. And actually, he turned out to be my daughter's godfather because he
Oh,
was
that's so
such a
cool.
yeah, such a real inspiration. So
Yeah,
surround yourself with people that water you, that help you grow and nurture you,
yeah.
is the order of the day.
Oh no, well, thanks. Yeah, I mean that's absolutely true. It's yeah, just surround yourself with the positivity and those people that are willing to help. And going forward into the next few years, is there anything that you think still needs to change or could be getting done a bit better in the tourism industry? I know a lot of South Africans or Africans have looked to you know, government support, maybe government red tape being eradicated. I mean, we've got a lot of situations in the UK happening now, particularly recently with all the problems at Dover. And I mean, what do you think? I mean, I know me, I don't understand why we still walk around with a little book that people put stamps in. That seems to me so 100 years ago. but
Absolutely.
but I
Uh,
mean, yeah.
well, I think one thing from our industry perspective that we would really genuinely love to see is open review platforms shut
Mm,
down. You know,
yeah.
in Europe now you can get fined a lot of money for fake reviews, be it good, bad, or indifferent. So
Mm,
one thing I would like to do is see governments stop businesses putting fake reviews up. You know, my friend was
mm,
having a nightmare on her Etsy shop the other day, and everyone piled in and said, I'll write a good review for you. So from
mm,
a business perspective, I would love to really, you know, help showcase brands that are you know, who are how using true, you know, data and insights and reviews to reflect how brilliant they are. Because
mm,
if you are, that's one thing, and I think that's coming down the line because it's hit Europe already, in these platforms that are, you know, peddling the ability to damage brands as well as
mm.
give brands fake reviews. The digital passport side of it, I'll be honest with you, Graham. I'm not happy. I think there's an element of freedom and to digitize our identities. I just doesn't sit comfortably with me.
Mm,
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but
mm,
I don't feel comfortable with a cashless society, and a, you know, I love modern technology. You know, my whole house is run by a woman who quite often, 9 times out of 10, ignores me when I tell her to play music and put on the lights and turn on the burglar alarm,
is
and it's
that
a bit
dear old
cold. But
Alexa? Yeah.
yes, yeah, she runs my life, Graham. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
the slightly worrying thing is she appears to respond better to my husband's voice than mine. So he says that she's a little bit nicer. So I love stuff like that, and I particularly
Yeah,
love in the morning is telling her to put the kettle on. Yeah, it's one
yeah,
of the joys. And I think back to my nan using a mangle to do her washing,
yeah,
and I
yeah.
am every Christmas, Graham, every Christmas morning, I give my dishwasher a little kiss and
Ah,
I
yes, of
thank
course.
it for its
Yeah,
service.
yeah,
Yeah, so I'm in two camps on too much of that AI kind of running our lives, Big Brother thing. So I think we have to ensure our freedoms and our civil liberties are not taken over by that.
yeah.
But for me personally, Graham, I took up golf last year,
Hmm.
much to everyone's dismay because I'm the most unsportiest person ever. And I'd like to be better at golf next year. I want to be so good at golf that I am asked to play with Tiger Woods. That's all. That's
Yeah,
me personally. You know, I think that's a big it's a big ask. And Yeah, I think
Yeah.
my friends are quite surprised by my golfing commitment, because I am very committed to proving myself wrong, which, one of the things out of lockdown is like I just am going to try everything, and
Mm.
I've become slightly addicted stroke passionate about golf, which my husband now says I am a golf ball and he is a golf widow, because I'm like, he's, what are you doing? I'm going to play golf. So for me personally, I would like to be better at golf, and
Mm.
yeah, for the future, I'd like to just, I don't believe that we should ever be put into lockdown again, ever, under
Mm.
any circumstances. I think we have to all take personal responsibility for ourselves. It's had a horrific impact on industry,
Mm.
which I still don't believe it was the right thing to do.
Mm.
But I understand and sympathise with a government that had never been through this. So it was damned if they did and damned if they didn't.
Absolutely.
But I would absolutely pray that it wouldn't happen again. I don't think it ever will, because I think we know too much now. And the great thing is, as medical science has, you know, advances such a quick speed, that you would hope that now we are absolutely prepared for it. It's a case of, move forward and learn, really. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm, if I was a betting woman, I would say in my lifetime it will never happen again. It costs too much.
Mm.
It just costs too much. And I think um if we look back, uh I'm not sure it was the right decision, but it wasn't my decision to make, and I
Mm.
duly accepted my 2 years at home. I quite enjoyed it though, if I'm honest, Graham.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was,
Well, I think, if
but
you can work from home and you've got a lovely
correct,
home. I mean,
yeah.
my house overlooked a beautiful sort of valley area, and yeah, I mean, I all of a sudden it became my greatest sundowner spot with my glass of wine watching.
Oh,
And I mean,
lovely.
I mean, I think you did get to see
Yeah,
the joy and appreciate the little things. And I like what you said earlier about wanting to play golf with Tiger Woods, because even for this podcast, I've reached out to Richard Branson and Simon Calder, because I just think, why not? And that's
yeah.
another thing that I think, we can take away from just life in general, not just the pandemic, is that, don't automatically assume that these people who also started at the bottom, and entrepreneurs, are too busy or don't want to chat, and as well. And
And
you know
actually, oddly enough, I used to work for Branson when he walked around the offices, and when he'd come into the office and actually talk to employees, and he'd literally walk up to you and say,
mm,
how are you? He used to have parties at his house, and I think you're absolutely right. Is I think in our lifetime, in our generation, this is the worst thing that, other than personal health and wealth,
mm,
this is probably one of those, those moments in time where you just go, that was my war, if you know what I
yeah,
mean,
of course,
in
absolutely, yeah.
it's your battle to kind of go through. But yeah, I'm all for that. Is when you go through some of those, is you and I were fortunate to have that view and that time. But actually, one of the nicest things actually was I'm surrounded by a lot of elderly neighbours, and we created a COVID shopping group, because they, as you can imagine, they were absolutely petrified
Yeah.
to leave the house. And now I am the local dog walker, the local shopper. Even post pandemic, I've created some wonderful bonds with a lot of elderly neighbours that, bearing in mind I've been here 14 years, I genuinely didn't know. It's brought the community together really solidly, really,
Mm.
really beautifully. So that's nice. And I'm now the adopted mother of many dogs that I like to walk
Oh, lovely.
for weekends. So yeah, my husband and daughter are allergic to dogs. So
Oh.
when I'm not playing golf, I'm walking neighbours' dogs and running errands for them. But it just feels good to put something back into the universe. And
Yeah.
actually, ironically, when I broke my back, back in 2015, one of the things I said was, if the universe bestows mobility back on me, which it has tenfold, I said I would do X amount of random acts of kindness for each year thereafter. So, at the time I was 40, so I said, right, I'll do 40 random acts of kindness, and I now carry that on.
Wow.
To when I'm 100, it might get a bit harder, but
Yeah.
I every four, I've just turned 48, and so I'm on 48 random acts of kindness that I bestow on random people when I see them happening, and it's just a nice thing
Yeah.
to do, to put something back. That's what COVID's taught me, is to just pay it forward in a consistent manner. It's just keep paying it forward, and like I say to Darcy, don't try and change the world, change your village, because it will create a tsunami effect of joy. Because if we all change our village, it will spread to the next village and the next village and the next village, and that ultimately changes the world, doesn't it? So yes, hopefully.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, thanks so much for chatting to me. You can mark this off as a random act of kindness for a young podcaster trying to get out to the world. Now you got 47 more to go.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, 47 more to go. I shall. I've got to. I have only just turned 48, so I've got hopefully a few more months to tick them off. So if you're in a town near me, you may be bestowed one of my random acts. So
lovely. Well, thanks, Katy. So how would the listeners get in touch with you if they want to find out more about the Feefo platform?
So you can get hold of me on LinkedIn, and it's Katy and then Lee, Lee, because I have the easiest name to say, but they're always asked how you spell it. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Katy Lee Feefo, or you can email me at Katy, Katy.Lee, Lee, at feefo.com.
Perfect.
But you can catch me on either one, and I'd love to. It only takes half an hour of your time to have a demo, and as I say, from our perspective, prices start from just £99, and if you are a small and medium enterprise business, really talk to Feefo, because it is David and Goliath out there, Graham, and we're really here to help everyone, no matter what their budget, to try and help grow their business and get their customers selling their stories for them.
Well, that's great. I mean, Katy, and hopefully as my business, Kuza Connect, grows and starts to represent more businesses around the world, we can find a lot of synergies with Kuza Connect and Feefo. So let's hope
absolutely.
Let's hope that can happen too. Katy, I'll let you get back to your wonderful family, and we'll catch up again very, very soon. Thanks so much for joining me.
Absolutely. Thanks, Graham. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning into KuzaCast, where we explore the world of tourism with leaders from all corners of the globe. Join me, Graham Watson, for future episodes as we dive into the latest trends and insights from the industry. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating, and we'll see you next time on KuzaCast.